You know, I feel like a lot of people have the wrong idea about like what your life is while you're in the military. I think people have this idea that you're constantly deployed, you're constantly in the woods, you're constantly doing some military thing, military operation. Like you don't have your own free time, and like you, I mean, I guess technically you are on the job at all times, so like you can get called at any point. But for the most part, especially for jobs that aren't really infantry or infantry related, you just basically have a 9 to 5. And I say for the most part, because even in the infantry, like it's really just a 9 to 5, as long as like you're not in the field or deployed or doing something, some training op, right? So it's pretty similar to what you've got going on out here. The only difference is like it's kind of like if you were on call. So on call, for all my younger guys probably don't know, it's just like you're on the job, but you're not technically on the job. You're just waiting to see if something happens, and then you can get called. That's why you're on call. But basically, the military is just one big 9 to 5. In this video, we'll go over your life as an infantry marine. It's a little bit different than the rest of the military. You do have a lot of free time when you're not a boot, and that free time definitely leads to people getting in a lot of trouble. It's pretty common for it's like a trope, basically. Like the infantry marines are always getting in trouble. But to get it started, this time period, the time that I'm talking about would be like the life of the average fleet infantry marine. So this is after boot camp, this is after your infantry school, after all your schooling, before any advanced schooling that you could do, just your regular time in the fleet, what you're doing, what to expect, when you're going to deploy. Because if you're in the infantry, you at least deploy once. I'd imagine, I think on average everybody deploys like twice in a contract. Maybe if you're lucky you get 3, but I think on average you get twice. You get 2 deployments a contract, just like you should get probably 2 different duty stations a contract. But to get it started, since this is right after ITB, your infantry training battalion, let's look at it as a boot. If you don't know, a boot is a bringer of others tobacco, as one of my seniors would say. Boots are just new joints, new guys, new marines. They're at the bottom of the totem pole, and if you're a boot, just best believe you are running, yelling, and acting like as if you were still in boot camp, but as a private or private first class marine. Maybe lucky as a lance corporal if you got like meritorious at ITB or some crazy thing like that. But as a boot, it's this is the worst it's gonna be for sure. This is definitely the worst it's gonna be. You're a boot for about at least a year and a half before you deploy. You're a boot up until you deploy. So depending when you get into your unit, depending where their workup is. So if you don't know, a workup is just the workup is the culmination, or not the culmination, it's everything that you do prior to your deployment to get ready for your deployment. So these are everything that's on the schedule to get ready for whatever you're doing on deployment. So all your field ops, all your longer field ops, all the classes that you take. You have there's the big field ops at the end of the workup that you usually do, which is something like CAX, which is a month-long field op out in 29 Palms, I believe. I didn't get to go. My unit did get to go while I was recovering up from a surgery. You do a lot of shooting, a lot of field ops. It's in the desert, so usually you go over there if you go right before you go to like either whatever Middle Eastern country you're getting ready to go for. I don't know if they actually decide. I'd imagine they do decide what long field op you do specifically for your deployment, but I don't think, like, I don't know if they put too much thought into it. But you have your workup is about 6 to 9 months, and you have like a bunch of small field ops, slowly becoming longer field ops as you get closer to your deployment. So you usually have like few day, like 2-3 day field ops when you first get there as a boot. If you are a boot, usually you come with your class from your ITB class, so they'll try to get you warmed up at a nice pace. I mean them as in like your company will make sure that you guys are like, going at a good pace, so you kind of know what's going on and how to gel with the rest of the Marines, usually your senior dudes that are already there. So your workup of 6 months, you do a bunch of small field ops slowly. They probably get longer. A week field op, week long field ops are pretty average. In between field ops, you go like 1 week you go to the field, 1 week you're back at the bricks or the barracks. in between your field ops, you do like some class or some kind of ready. I don't want to call that a workup, but you do some classes that are made for the field op, or you're just doing some prep for the field op that's coming up next week. Um, After the longer field ops, or after the shorter field ops, I should say, the week long field ops, they sometimes you'll do like a 2 week long field op. Those aren't too common. You maybe like one or two, maybe three. I feel like we didn't do over the weekend field ops too often. If we did 2 week long field ops, we would go to the field and then come back for the weekend, and then sometimes go out again. But that wasn't too common either. Two week long field ops aren't too common. It's usually week long field ops, and then at towards the end of your workup is when you do like some big culminating month long field op, like CAX or Bridgeport, which I did, or we did. There was also another big field op we did in somewhere in Virginia. I think it was like Bragg or something. I correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not too familiar with like army bases because there's just so many of them. But like I said, you do your 6 month, 9 month workup. You do a bunch of field ops in between. Then you do a bunch of classes as a boot. Just so you know, you're getting yelled at all the time. Like I said before, you are probably getting hazed a lot. Think of it as having to earn your stripes. Basically, it's whatever. Like, you just get hazed, you get yelled at. It's not too bad as long as people aren't like taking it too far. There are plenty of crazy stories where people took it too far. And by all means, I think if somebody puts their hands on you, by all means, I think you should tell somebody. Besides that, if you're just being yelled at, being told to do push-ups, being told to like do some physical activity, like as long as it's not like hurting you like really bad, then I think it's not too bad. Like, hazing isn't like that's like that bad. It's not that crazy. Whatever, you get yelled at sometimes, it's cool. It's the military. Like, you should expect that, especially in the infantry. It's basically what they're known for, to be honest. So if you're going to the infantry, you should expect to get hazed. But the fun part is like a lot. I mean, for me anyways, I came with my like basically my entire ITB class, so there was like mostly boots, and then like one or two, so 3 or 4 seniors, a squad, and then the squad leaders after that. If you don't know, a squad is broken up into 3 teams with a squad leader at the top. So it'd be 3 team leaders, 1 squad leader. Each team has a point man, a light machine gunner, and an A gunner, which is just the assisted gunner. So you just carry the light machine gunner's like extra barrel and ammo or whatever you got to carry. And then in the platoon, there's 3 squads, and then the platoon has the platoon commander and then platoon sergeant. But as a boot, you'll mostly be learning different infantry, I guess tactics you can call them. I feel like tactics makes it sound so like, secret spy, like, military type of thing. Like, it's not this, the stuff isn't too difficult to learn. You just learn basic Marine Corps doctrine. It's like if you got through high school, you should be able to memorize, I guess not memorize it, but you should be able to learn all this and kind of know what's going on. I mean, you're gonna memorize all of it. Basically, you're gonna get hazed into memorizing all of it. If you don't memorize all of it, you're probably gonna get hazed more. So it's in your best interest to just memorize all of it as much as you can. Memorize your 9-line, memorize the max effective range of your M4, memorize the max effective range of grenade. I don't know, whatever it was, man. But yeah, you're gonna be learning a lot, especially as a boot. If you're like a senior dude, you either got 2 paths: the senior lance corporal that's skating, or the senior lance corporal that's about to get promoted to corporal. Whichever path you decide to take, that's up to you. After your deployment, if you're a senior dude and you're about to work up for another deployment, this is the time where like you probably have a lot of time to, even as a boot. I mean, you probably get in more trouble as a boot because you're just so much less mature, or so much more immature, whichever way you want to say that. But if you're a senior dude right now, you probably, since you already did the boot stuff, this is after your deployment, now you have boots. You can either be the senior lance corporal that's skating around, and usually those guys, like during class, if you're not in the field, this is the point where you just kind of during the work day, you're in your room playing video games. You probably just go to the gym in the middle of the day. You are watching TV, sleeping. This is when you're kind of chilling out. Now, this is pretty common, honestly. Even if like you're like the senior lance corporal that's about to get promoted to corporal, even with all those responsibilities that you might have, you could probably still end up just chilling in your room, sleeping or playing video games. So after the whole boot phase is definitely a lot easier. The corporal types, senior lance corporal types, these are your team leaders. They have a little bit more responsibility. They kind of have to make sure their team is in order, make sure their team knows their classes. Team leaders usually kick off classes, sometimes squad leaders do. It's up to however the squad leader or the platoon sergeant wants to handle that. It's usually best if the team leaders just give the classes. It's a lot easy, it's an easier experience, and you definitely feel like you're being micromanaged less when the team leaders give the classes. But a lot of people like to micromanage when the military, you know, or gets to their head and all that. But no matter what, you're either, if you're a boot or if you're a senior guy, your day is basically going to be around what you're doing, based around what you're doing in the field next week. And if you're not in the field, then you just get to kind of chill, go to chow, go to class, and come back, or go to the gym. You work out in the morning. You wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You go to work, or you go to you do some, it depends on your squad leader. Again, like you can do some break off PT, like doing like a 17-mile fucking run to the gate or some stupid like that. But or you could do a chill 2-mile, 3-mile run and call it a day, or a chill pool PT. Those are usually the best. Those are usually the times. Besides that, besides after, like usually you're getting cut like around 4 p.m. So you're in at work at like 6 p.m. You go to chow like 2 times during the day. You're usually getting cut around 4 p.m. and then after 4 p.m. you do whatever you want, man. As long as you're not a boot and you're not getting hazed, you can go out and get plastered wherever you are. If you're in Lejeune, then you probably don't have too many options. But if you're on Pendleton, if you're in Okinawa, if you're in Hawaii, then you probably got a few good options. If you're in 29 Palms, you probably have 0 options. You have less options than Lejeune. But yeah, after 4 o'clock, you get to go out, get drunk, get as drunk as you want to. On the weekends, you get cut at 4. You don't have to be back until the 6 a.m. the next, or that upcoming Monday, so you can do whatever you want. Between me and you guys, like I used to drive home on the weekend. I was in North Carolina. I used to drive all the way to New York. It was like, sometimes it was a nice 10-hour, 11-hour, 12-hour drive. Sometimes it was a 16-hour drive, and I would literally spend not even a full day at home and then drive back the next day just to make it home. But like I said, it's not too bad of a gig when you're in the field. What to expect in the field, I mean, like it's what you see in the movies. I don't know like how else to explain it. Like you're in the woods, you're just chilling out there, you're whatever they got planned for you to learn. You might be digging a hole and sitting in the defense for the whole week. You might be sitting, you might just go to the range to shoot guns at 50 meters, 100 meters. You might do some other stuff. Like there's so many different ranges and so many different field ups that you do. It's hard to explain all of them. You shoot rocket launchers, the big month-long deployments, like you'll be hiking for 16 hours. You'll be sleeping in the snow. You'll be sleeping with no gear. The survival trainings, those sucked, man. I can't tell you, man. Those were horrible. But it's just a job. Like if you join the infantry, I imagine that you expected it. It's not too bad. It does suck. I think personally, I don't think that was really the worst part of being in the infantry. I think the worst part of being in the infantry is just having to deal with so many miserable people. If it weren't for the miserable people in the infantry above you, or the people that are just trying to look out for themselves, it wouldn't be that bad of a gig, because you kind of expect to get yelled at. You kind of expect to be sleeping in the woods and to be uncomfortable. You don't expect really everybody to be so miserable. So I feel that's really the worst part. And then finally, once you finish up your 6 to 9 month ish workup, then you get to go on leave for like a week or so, a week ish, and then you go on deployment. You go on deployment for like 6 to 9 months, and then you're back and you get to do it all over again as a senior dude, and it'll be great. Guys, the Marine Corps is what you make it. I love to complain about it, but like, who doesn't? I think it was a great experience. Life is the same as, actually, I think it was, so as a junior Marine, as a boot, as a new guy, I do have to emphasize to enjoy it, because no other time in your life will you be living around like just a bunch of your friends. You're basically in a big frat and you're just hanging out with your friends. You get yelled at sometimes, and you learn some stuff about guns, and you sleep in the woods sometimes, but you're in a big frat and you're just having a good time. So just enjoy it. You're gonna get drunk a lot. If you're into it, you're gonna get into a lot of fights. You're gonna have a lot of stories. Guys, enjoy it. It will be fun, and you guys will have lived a great experience, guys. That's all I got for you guys. Hope you guys learned some things. If you guys are looking to join the military, if you guys have any questions, join the Marine Corps infantry, let me know down below, and I will try to answer them as best as I can. Besides that, I got nothing else for you guys. I love you guys. Peace.